Everyone is talking about how startling the side-by-side was of Mitt Romney looking engaged, looking square in the president's eyes, and Obama constantly looking down, scribbling notes. Chris Matthews said, "What is it for, a future debate?" I also thought it was really interesting that Obama kept allowing not just Jim Lehrer, but Mitt Romney to interrupt him. It was almost as if he was relieved that someone was cutting him off, that he didn't have to keep talking. He conceded points almost preemptively. You saw him nodding in bizarre agreement with Mitt Romney.
And saying, okay.
Mitt Romney's criticism
okay,
of him.
and sort of saying, I give, uncle, I'm calling uncle.
He actually said to the moderator at one point, Jim, you may want to move on to another topic. Like he was suggesting to the moderator, bail me
I don't
out,
want to talk
pull me
about
away.
this anymore.
I don't want to talk about this anymore because I think
So,
this was actually late in the tax discussion. Romney was just crushing him.
Well, I think I also expected a lot more attitude from President Obama. This was sort of the expectation that a lot of people were saying. He's going to be a little condescending, a little arrogant. He didn't show up. You have to show up to be arrogant and condescending. Didn't really see much of that. And my take on this is that he was told or decided that job one is don't look arrogant, don't look defensive, don't look out of touch, and don't sound too upbeat. Well, when you take all of those options away, you are left with bland. That's it. And it was a bizarre performance stylistically from a guy who usually looks very, very confident and was back out on the stump today looking like his old self.
Right.
Confident,
anybody
lobbing
knows
shots at Romney.
When you're trying to coach someone about how to turn in a performance, don't tell them what not to do, because then they just become totally self-conscious about what they might be doing wrong. We saw that actually happen to the former Vice President Al Gore when Bill Clinton told him not to sigh and roll his eyes, and he just didn't know what to do otherwise, apparently. But last night's debate, Essie, as you said, he just didn't seem present. He didn't seem engaged. And I think the danger there for President Obama was that it gave viewers the impression that he's not taking this seriously. That he is running for President of the United States, commander of the free world, trying to keep that address at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, and he didn't bother to prepare. That's not good for President Obama.
And amid allegations of him being, slacking, not attending all of his meetings, it seemed like he missed some strategy sessions. Like, what happened to the 47% line? I didn't hear that at all.
I don't know if it's that he wasn't taking this seriously. And I actually want to emphasize this. Right now we're talking about the style of this debate. But I don't want to sweep that under the rug. Style is important. We've gone over and over on this show how debates break down into essentially likability. How do you pull it off? How do you look? How do you sound? We're not talking about the words that come out of your mouth, but how you present them. It's entirely important. I think the end result is all this hemming and hawing and hesitating and halting and looking down. He just didn't look like a leader, and that's exactly what Mitt Romney looked like.
Until last night, I would offer to you guys, he was known as the style candidate.
Right.
He was the cool candidate. He was unshakable. He was the professor. He always sort of kept his cool. He always knew what was going on. That we had been told that going on for years now, and there was never a break in that. And last night, it was just like, have we just been lied to this whole time? And has this just been a media perception that's been propagated? I would say a lot of it actually is, and we saw that. And there was a point last night at which Romney decided to kind of come right in. It was early on in the debate, and I felt like Obama, there was an uh-oh moment because Romney kind of got some steam. And it was about 10 minutes in. He said, wait, hold on, it was about the tax issue. And he goes, let me come in there, and that was it. After that, it was just downhill.
Well, let's talk about Romney, because the problem wasn't just that Obama was so stylistically bad. I think it was that Mitt Romney was stylistically really good, unexpectedly good. He managed to be likable, engaging. He was aggressive without being arrogant. He took his time because, he took his time opportunities because he felt like, it's mine to take. I'm the prize fighter here. I'm going to go after what I want. And if that means interrupting Jim Lehrer or the President of the United States, I'm going to do it. But he didn't look like a bully. He looked people in the eye. He took his time. He easily drew facts and figures and numbers and made cogent arguments string together that made sense. He didn't deliver the zingers that everyone was worried he was going to do, the sort of pause for reaction, hey-oh, lines.
The funny stuff he said was clearly not scripted.
No, it was natural. It looked good.
And actually funny. And I agree with you. Perception is everything. And CBS did an interesting snap poll last night and actually retrieved some really interesting data that really surprised me, actually. So what they did is they surveyed a representative sample of undecided voters who actually who also watched the debate. And among them, 56% said they had a more favorable impression of Mitt Romney after they watched the debate. Interestingly, so one of the concerns is that that Romney is perceived as being out of touch, that he doesn't understand the needs of people like you. And in fact, Romney went from 30% of the respondents thinking he understood their needs to 68%.
That was the first thing he did.
In the conclusion of what you're talking about, and by the way, CNN had some of these snap polls immediately after the debate showing that 67% thought Romney won compared to only 25% for Obama. The point is, let's all be honest here. We have our biases. Our biases are well known. But this is beyond bias. And as you point out, Essie, it's not just the objective polling. It's also coming from the left. This was an unmitigated loss for President Obama.